And that wraps it up. That's Maurice's Strategicon. And by the way, I forgot to mention this. This is somebody on Twitter said, hey, check out this book. I got it, opened it up and said, yes. Ancient War. Bring it. Maxims. Bring it. Awesome book. And, you know, I wanted to close this out kind of with something Roman related. And of course I thought about Julius. When you think of Rome, you think of Julius Caesar. When you think of Julius Caesar, you think about that guy named Shakespeare.
Sure.
Who wrote a play called Julius Caesar. And I'm obviously not going to do the whole thing right now, but there's a part of it. And you know, we're talking about leadership, right? And really in talking about Maurice and Caesar, actual rulers of an empire. That's what they were, rulers of an empire. It's possible to think that maybe they were better than us, right? Like they were superior human beings. And it's also possible to think that they were better than us, not by what they did and how they led. It's possible to say, oh, you know, Maurice came up with this stuff. That's not why he was the ruler. It's just luck. It's fate. But in the play Julius Caesar by Shakespeare, Cassius reminds us as he speaks to Brutus that isn't so. Not so. Not luck. He explains to Caesar in these great lines. He explains to him that Caesar stands above the world like a giant. So Caesar's a giant, like a colossus is the word he uses. While us down here, we little men, we just wander about under his massive legs, under his giant presence. We're just moving aimlessly toward death, towards a dishonorable death. But this is what I like about it, is then Cassius explains that it isn't fate that has put Caesar into that powerful position, but that men control their own destinies. And that men are masters of their fate. And that the fault in men, the thing that holds us back from greatness, it doesn't lie in chance. It doesn't lie in the way that the stars are aligned. No. The fault lies within us, not in the stars. It is our fault that we become slaves instead of kings. And this is how Shakespeare put it. Why? Man, he doth bestride the narrow world like a colossus. And we petty men walk under his huge legs and peep about to find ourselves dishonorable graves. Men at some time are masters of their fates. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves. That we are underlings. So Cassius there is making an early case for ownership, for extreme ownership, which is obviously something that I believe in. And that is that you can't blame fate. You can't blame the stars. The fault lies within us. And you got to own it. You got to own that fault. You got to fix it. You got to dictate your own future. Don't let fate dictate your future. You got to make that decision to be better. To be a king, like Caesar, to be a general, to be a leader. And most important, to be a free human being. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about underlings. They're slaves. Don't be a slave. Don't be a slave to any other man, and don't be a slave to weakness, and don't be a slave to sloth. And don't be a slave to your ego. Don't be a slave. Be free. Free your mind. And the thing is, you can't free your mind until you realize, like Cassius says, the fault is in ourselves. And the pathway to overcoming our faults is not complaining or blaming or making excuses or attacking others. No. The pathway to freedom actually comes from attacking ourselves. Attacking ourselves with discipline and with hard work and with physical training and mental training and reading and studying and learning. And that is how we overcome those faults. That's how we leave behind the underlings, the slaves. That's how we get away from the darkness of subjugation. And that is how we become free. And I think that's all I've got for tonight. Looks like we're pretty long to slide into Q&A right now.
Yep.